Okay, is this? Can you all hear? Can you all hear the sound now? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Sound working okay? Like I said, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now, and if not, then I have to restart this again. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you. Um, Now there may be a bit of a delay between my mouth moving and the audio coming out because I had to unsync a few things. So uh, if you see that, just I appreciate your patience in advance as we work through this. Usually it's totally synced up, but that's what happens when you have tons of technology. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to. So I'm going to restart. Thank you everybody for joining me. I am super, super excited to announce that this book, which is, I've been working on this for over a year. It's 170 pages of my best advice for bass players learning how to solo. And this is deeply rooted in research that I've done, like a few years of research, actually diving into resources, really trying to figure out what's been discussed, learning about the research behind how people learn to improvise really well, how these things actually stick. So it's not just like a bunch of stitched together bumper sticker sayings like go transcribe a bunch of solos or do this in 12 keys. Like this will take you through um, you know tried and true methods based on my experience, based on research, really diving into things that will help you bridge the gap between your accompanying abilities and your soloing abilities. Again, been working on this for a year and a half. Comes out on Monday. Could not be more excited to share it with everybody. Um, so, speaking of transcribing, that's what we're going to get into today because transcribing is something that is really talked about a lot in the sort of jazz canon. Like, you got to learn how to play jazz by transcribing. And just by like a show of hands or a few comments, you can't really show me your hands. I'm imagining you're all like participating that way at home. Uh, I am curious how many of you have transcribed something and then gotten to the point where you're like, what do I do with this now? I transcribed this Ray Brown solo, um, but what next? Got it on this piece of paper. How do I use this? So if you've ever been in that situation, just like shoot me a comment. I would love to know if you've been in that situation because I have tons and tons and tons of times. I already see some hands getting raised. Keep in mind, there's also a little bit of a delay here between what I'm saying and what I see from all of you. Yeah, transcribing again. It's one of those like very often quoted tropes. Like you want to learn to play jazz, transcribe a bunch of stuff, and it's true. However, what happens is we don't really know the best methods for doing it or the most helpful methods for doing it. And then we spend hours and hours writing things out note by note, and we don't really know what to do with it. And so, with transcribing, one of the most helpful things you can do is actually change the process in which you do it. Um, so that instead of wondering what you do with a transcription when it's done, you never have to ask that question. And if this sounds a little bit spacey, well, hear me out. The reason that we transcribe, right, is because we want to learn vocabulary. Now, if we think about transcribing similar to how we learn a language, well, we don't just listen to people speak and then try and write down every single word that they say. That would be kind of ridiculous, right? When we listen or when we learn a new language, um, we learn by ear and we immerse ourselves and we really try to get the sound and the phrasing. Even if we don't know everything that people are saying, we're trying to get the gist of the tone and timbre in our ear. And when we transcribe, it's kind of the same. It's actually the same thing. And when I say transcribe, I'm saying learning by ear. I'm kind of equating the two, even though transcribing is technically writing things down. Um, but what happens is if you write things down, go note by note as you're transcribing, you're never going to remember it. It's just not going to stick. And if you take the time to learn things by ear before you even touch your instrument or touch a pen and a piece of paper, the solos will stick with you. So when you're transcribing, learning the notes and the rhythms, like, yeah, that's part of it, but you're really trying to absorb the context, like why things were played when they were played and what was happening in the situation. You're trying to get the sound, you're trying to get the timbre, you're trying to get the phrasing. It's all these other things that a piece of paper cannot communicate for you. And so what I'm telling you is, if you take the time to learn solos in the way that I'm about to tell you, you will never have to ask yourself, what do I do with this now? Because you will never forget the solo. So again, you can write solos out measure by measure, but you're always going to be saying, okay, how do I get this in my ear? How can I work through this? Do I have to take it through 12 keys, et cetera, et cetera? But if you do the transcription in the way I'm about to tell you, the question of what to do with it, you won't even have to do it because the sound will be in your ear. I can say, anecdotally, the solos that I remember the most are solos that I transcribed 15 years ago. I can sing Miles Davis's solo on Freddie Freeloader because I listened to it 100 times before I even picked up my bass. Yet I've got tons of Scott LaFaro transcriptions that I've done on my computer, and I did those measure by measure. I can't remember more than a few bars at a time of that. And so transcribing by writing it down and then trying to memorize it is almost like a backwards way of getting there, and it's a lot harder to memorize as compared to getting the sound in your ear and getting the context of it and being able to recall without the aid of notation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly take you through 3 strategies for transcribing. And again, this is totally available from my book. I've got a whole section on transcription and listening in here that takes you through like step by step how to really get the most out of a transcription. So I'm going to take you through the 3 methods, and I'm going to actually teach you a solo by ear. And if that feels, if that feels scary or like, okay, I'm down, great. Wherever you are on your journey, I invite you with an open mind and open ears to step into this process with me. So the first strategy that you can use for transcribing, again, is going measure by measure. What you do, you put on a recording, and or what I would do is sit down with the recording and pause it every measure and try to sing along or figure out with a keyboard or my bass what the notes are. So that's cool. You work, bit by bit until it's done. So that's one way of transcribing. Another way of transcribing, this is method 2 that I get into. I try to figure out the pitches with a piece of paper without any rhythm. So I separate the elements. You can do pitch first, so you'll just have a bunch of floating note heads. Then afterwards, I'll try and sing the rhythms that I'm hearing in the recording and add beams to the note heads. And then lastly, I'll try and put bar lines in there so I can have a completed transcription. That works because if I'm having trouble hearing some of the rhythms, then that can be a way to solve it or overcome that challenge. Also, raise your hand if you've ever transcribed something and then realized you put a bar line in the wrong spot, and then you've got 12 measures that are all wrong. It happens, and if you go bit by bit, it's really hard to recognize that. I've totally been there. It's super frustrating. The last way of learning something, learning a solo, and this is, I'm telling you, this is the best way. And I don't mean to say that in an egotistical way. I don't mean to say that like I have all the answers. I mean that in the sense that this is the way that we'll get it to stick. And so what I do, what I have all my students do, we actually did this all this past week in our program, actually. People who have never transcribed, we're learning solos by ear and being able to sing them with solfege away from the instrument, by the way. I will listen to a solo on repeat at least 100 times and do my very best to sing along with it over and over until I can get the general phrasing and gesture in my ear. And then after I think I've got a good memory of the solo in my ear, I pick up my bass and I try to play it. Again, I do it away from my instrument. You don't need perfect pitch to do this. You can do it independently of having a reference. And the cool thing is, it sticks with you. So instead of having to go to the instrument to confirm, like, oh, is it this or is it this? You have the song, you have the solo implanted in your ear, and you're able to bring it to the instrument and use your ear to help you figure out what's going on. Now, if you're listening and like, that's crazy, how do you figure out 16th note passages? That's why we go measure by measure. Those other tools that I talked about are tools that are really good for filling in the gaps of some of those difficult passages. Those are the diagnostic tools, because as the great Bill Dobbins, who's like one of the leading transcribers in the world. He transcribed Chick Corea's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs album, a bunch of Herbie Hancock recordings. I mean, he's like master transcriber. Even he said something to the effect of transcription is like 90% knowing what something is and 10% educated guesswork. So we can never know 100% what it is, but if we can rely on our ears and then use those tools as helpful ways of filling in the gaps, then we're building up our ability to transcribe more easily in the future. So again, instead of going measure by measure as the entire method, I encourage you to use that for at most 10% of what you transcribe, because again, it's going to stick with you. So if listening to a solo entirely is way too much, then the smallest unit that I would encourage you to go in terms of listening by ear is phrase by phrase. Transcribing note by note, measure by measure is like listening to people speak and transcribing sentence, or rather word by word. With language, we don't hear that way. We don't hear word by word. We hear sentence by sentence, because we're able to understand the context of all the words as a whole. We don't hear them by parts. We hear a sentence in its entirety. And a solo is the same way. We really get the context of an idea when we hear it in terms of a phrase. And the more we can relate this to just how we perceive language, the easier it is to understand how transcription can really stick with us. So enough of me talking about this. I am going to teach you a solo by doing it all by ear. And again, this is a solo that is available in my topics book. This is one of the examples I use to teach a blues solo. And if you're transcribing for the first time, the blues is like such a great way to diving into it. And yeah, I see. Hey, Mike. Yeah, Mike commented more like letter by letter. Yeah, if you get into the thick of it and you're going measure by measure for a solo, it's like word by word or letter by letter. You're digging into such a granular way that does not stick or does not resonate with how we learn language. And again, the more transcribing you do this way, the easier it is, right? Like the more familiar you are with how things work in music, the easier it is to be able to recognize what's going on. So it's less guesswork. So what I'm going to do is play you this blues solo. Now, I know I told you to grab your bass. I encourage you to listen to this and sing along without your instrument. It's an F blues, standard blues changes. And so this is F, bum. So if you want to sing F so you've got it in your ear, that's your reference. I'm going to play this for you, and we're just going to listen to it a few times. It's a short solo, and then we'll go phrase by phrase. Figure 3.2. That's me. 2, 2, 3. Wait a second. I don't have a way to play this for you. Okay, well, I'm going to play it for you then. Give me 1 second. When technology backfires, always have a plan B. So what I was going to do was play for you a recording from my book, but there was, because I had to change my audio settings, I was not able to not able to do that. So I'm going to play it for you. And I wrote it so I can do that. That's okay. It's within my capabilities. So you're going to be able to watch me play this, but I still want you to listen and encourage you to use your ear first. So the solo goes like this. 2, 2, 3, 4. So, I'm going to teach it to you in 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, are you ready? We're going to go phrase by phrase. Actually, I'll play it for you one more time, and then I'm just going to sing it to you phrase by phrase. I won't even play it. Again, you don't even need the instrument. So Michael Sherman said you can hear the recording. Well, in that case, thank you, Michael. I will actually go back to playing the recording then, because that is what I would rather have you do. So, figure 3.2. 2, 2, 3, 4. So that's the solo. It's just a little 12-bar itty bitty thing. Turning the gain down a little bit. Okay, yeah. Thank you for the feedback, everybody. I'll turn the gain down back here. So how about this? I'm gonna play a little bit. Tell me if this is a better gain. Is that better for everybody? If not, I'll just go back to singing it, and it's no difference to me. But I'll wait for your feedback. Let me know if it's any better, and then we'll go from there. Beautiful. All right, we're golden. Thank you. So check this out. Phrase by phrase. 2, 2, 3, 4. So, that's our first phrase. So I'll sing it to you. It goes like this. 1, I'll do it so 2, 2, 3, 4. Bum, 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 ba bum, 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 ba 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 boo ba dee dum. We'll go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bum, bum, bum. Bum bum bum, ba 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 boo ba beep bum. So what I would do if I'm listening to this, I would listen to it a few more times, just those phrases. I might slow it down a little bit, and I'm just going to start singing along with it. And then we'll loop it again, because why not? So bum bum beam, ba ba bum. This is do. Bum. That's our home. So bum bum beamed, ba ba beeped, ba 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 ba, ba 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 bum bum bum, ba ba beep ba. Let me check that again. Again. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Bum bum beam. Bum bum beam. Ba 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 be dum. Let's try singing it together. If you're still unsure of the notes, just go for the gesture. It doesn't even have to be totally accurate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
One more time, just for fun. Sing along with me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so that was the first phrase of our 12-bar blues. So let's try singing it just with me, no music. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Bum bum beam, ba ba beam, ba 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 beep bum. Bum bum ba ba bee, ba 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 bee. Ba 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 beep bum. Okay, I got it. And I wrote it, but I still got it. So let's go to the second phrase. Okay, that one's a bit of a beast. We're just going to loop that section slow. And all I'm going to have you do is just sing along with it at home. Okay, so we've got this. Ba, 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 ba. That's going into measure 5, which is the 4 chord. Ba, 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 ba. So we've got ba, 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 baby, boo, dim, boo, ba, de, boo, de, ba, 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 da, ba, boo, da, de, boo, de. So that's a little bit tricky. Ba 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 do ba dee boo dee boo ba dee boo dee dot ba ba da ba 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 da da ba da dee boo dee. So we got ba 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 do ba dee boo dee boo ba dee boo dee dot ba ba da ba 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 da da ba da dee boo dee. It goes up to that major 7th. I like that. So listen to it again. Think you could do it from the beginning so far? Just those 2 phrases? Goes ba ba bee, ba 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 bee, ba ba doo. Let's try it. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Bum bum beam, ba ba dee, ba ba boo ba boo ba boo ba dee dum. Ba 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 do ba dee boo dee, boo ba dee boo dee dot. Day ba da ba 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 da da ba da day booty. Yeah. Let's do it one more time, but we'll do it with the recording, so you can sing along with that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
right. Just give me a comment. Like, how are you feeling so far? Okay? Is this a bit unfamiliar? Or are you like, I got this? Just shoot me a message. And for Chad, who just arrived, welcome, Chad. I'm teaching everybody a solo by ear. We're talking about transcribing and the most effective ways to do it. So yeah, give me a little note. How you all doing so far? We're 2/3 of the way done. The bass is hard. But what we do is we work on our musicianship away from the instrument, so then when we come to the instrument, we're not trying to find the answers, but we're actually coming to the instrument with an idea of what exactly we want to play. So musicianship is always something that's at the core and not just in the fingers. All right. Last phrase. The final phrase. I should make a final countdown joke, but I won't. I'll just hint at it. Let me do it more up to speed. All right. One more. So this one's got a little bit of a triplet flavor. I'll sing you just the last phrase. I gotta go way up in my falsetto. I'm not a singer, but here we go. 2, 3, 4. Ba 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba 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 Michael Jackson makes it look so easy. Woo, just way up there, but can't do that. So we'll try it again slowly. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll listen to it. You can tell I love using the major seventh in the blues because it sounds fantastic. So we're gonna sing the whole solo together away from the bass, okay? So ba ba ba, that's where it starts. And I'm not looking at the music, but just to prove it, my new book, Cough Cough, Topics in Jazz Bass Volume 2 Soloing, due out on Monday, is closed. So I'm doing it all by ear. 1, sing along. 2, 3, 4. Bum bum beam, ba ba beep, ba ba boo ba 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 boo ba beep bum, ba 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 do ba dee boo dee, ba ba dee boo dee do, dee ba da ba 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 da da ba da dee boo dee. Ba 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 boo da da. So now, let's say you do that over the course of, I don't know, a week. Then what you do is you go up to the bass. Ba, ba, we're in the key of F. Okay, ba, ba, beam. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Almost like that. Ba, 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 boom. Then ba, 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 ba. Oh, well, it's just altered. Bum, 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 bum. And then I'll piece it together. Then eventually. Ah. And that's the process. Honestly, you're probably not going to forget this solo. I would encourage you to go back and check out this video again. If you spent 10, 15, 20 more minutes with it, you're going to have it. And that's the thing. It's also the same as for anyone who watched my stream last week, if you heard no major third on the 4 chord, yeah, sorry to bring that one up again. I know it's an earworm, but you probably didn't forget it because you learned it by ear and it's catchy. So, when you transcribe, again, you're not just going for the notes and the rhythms, but if you listen to the way that I played this and my phrasing, you know, even those things, I'm not playing. You cannot ignore or separate the quality of sound and the phrasing and everything from the notes and the rhythms. Our ear doesn't work that way. Again, when you're transcribing bit by bit, you neglect all of those things just to get the information that's like harmonic and rhythmic, that's like purely objective. But you miss out on all this other stuff that actually sticks in our ear and guides the way that we phrase and play. So when I learn things, again, I do it by ear. Like, I'm totally comfortable learning tunes by ear, singing the melody, singing the chord changes, singing the bass line. So then again, when I go to the instrument, this is just like the final confirmation of what I'm hearing. I use this to validate the work that I've done. And it's really great because I don't ever get to a point where I'm like, what do I do with this transcription? Because I already know that the process of learning it this way is the reason I'm doing it. Again, it's not about, okay, now I'm done, what's next? It's, okay, I've got it. That is the destination. That's the purpose of doing it. So, I also wanted to stall just to give you a bit of a pause. Now we're going to sing the whole solo together. One last time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And then even cooler if you can do it with solfege. Mi, sol, do, fa, la, do, la, re, do, sol, sol, la, do, re, mi, sol, la, re, and so on. I have students who are doing solfege transcriptions now, which is really inspiring for me because it encourages me to get my butt in gear. So just by a show of hands, and by a show of hands I mean like type the comments out. How was this for you? Like, was this comfortable? Was this new? Was this familiar? Let me know your experience. Now, like, we only spent 10 minutes on this, but I'd be curious just to know, like, you know, how comfortable do you feel with this idea? What was it like? Give me some information. Oh, you want the next line in solfege? It would be me ra do te la. So I'm just taking a look at the comments. Sorry, folks. Yeah, Mitch, I love your comment. Push you to use your voice as a soloist. Remove the hurdle of where to drop the fingers. Yeah, that's like the last step in the process, right? The fingers are just confirmation of what we're hearing, but the fingers can't tell us anything if we don't know really how it's supposed to sound. It's just kind of like fishing in the dark. Um, so again, this like, listen, folks, if you enjoyed this idea, this book, first off, it has almost 150 audio samples, like 137, I think. The whole premise of this book is how to learn soloing without trying to cram textbooks worth of theory knowledge in your head. Right? That's always been a huge barrier for me. Like if you've gone through theory books and tried to memorize patterns and had trouble with transcribing and like couldn't quite stitch everything together to be able to create great solos, like that's the inspiration for this book. So again, this comes out on Monday. I'll put a link out to be able to purchase it on Amazon. But again, I just want to congratulate all of you for going through this process with me and trying it. Like it's super fun just to get people, thinking about transcribing and working on their ears and using that as a foundation for playing great solos. So you're all wonderful. Thank you for indulging me through this. The last thing I want to say, really quick, is later next week I'm going to be announcing a really amazing, and I never use that word to describe some of the things that I'm putting out there, but I think it fits for this. I'm putting together like an amazing 10-day retreat and expert interview series. It's all happening through Zoom. You'll have to register for it, but it's free, totally free. Interviewing tons of experts, throughout like the jazz world, top educators, thought leaders, and top performers to hear their take on soloing and how they develop their solo voice. There's going to be loads of Q&A sessions. I've got a private Facebook group I'm running, so we'll be able to continue the conversation there. And then I'm going to be tying it all together in this really nice workshop that's going to dive even more into some of these tools. So you'll be able to walk away with like a really clear plan for how to really unlock your voice as a bass soloist and like take your stuff up to 11. Like it's going to be huge. Again, like this 10-day mega celebration of bass awesomeness, great community, and everything. So that will be announced later next week, just so you know what to expect. But yeah, I'm really excited to share all of this with you. Again, this has been the product of years worth of study and research and teaching, and it's finally ready for all of you. So if you want to know more about the expert inner circle and retreat that I'm setting up, you can go to my website, dannyzeman.com, join my mailing list if you're not there already. You'll see it on Facebook. There's going to be a lot of you're going to hear a lot of news about it. So I hope you're ready. Thank you again. Well, you're all wonderful. And I will look forward to seeing you virtually all very soon. Ciao. Have a nice weekend.